Shalom. Giving all honor, all praise, and all glory to Yahweh, Bashim, Yahushai, Bashim, Rechak Wadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and bishops of the great millstone that rule well. And as always, peace, blessings, and salutations unto the hopeful elect tabernacle of David that are scattered abroad across the four winds of the earth. Now, just to address this real quick, you notice, we give homage, we give praise, glory, and honor to the name of our God, our power that we worship. And what deity, in the name of the deity that Muslims reverence or worship. Two completely different deities, two different gods. One is the true God, all right, that created the heavens and the earth, and the other one was just a creation from the figment of a man's imagination. All right. Now, why would the person who worships the only true God join forces and get together with an individual who worships the creation from the imagination of a man? Why would you do that? And you see that they're trying to paint the narrative. They're trying to create a link between the Hebrew Israelites and Islam. The Hebrew Israelites is a nationality. That's an ethnic identity. Islam is a religion. So you can't put the two together because they're not the same. They're not one and the same. You really can't even compare us. We do not have the same belief system. We do not share the same theological tenets. Okay, so this right here is definitely a mechanism to sow nothing but confusion amongst our people. And knowing how mentally vulnerable our people are, because they're a lost sheep, they're gonna wander, wherever they see fit. Let me real quick. Let's go to Isaiah 65, and I just want to read the second verse. Isaiah 65, matter of fact, I'll start at 1, because it's going into the rebellious nature of our people, right? It says, I am sought of them that asked not for me. I am found of them that sought me not. I said, behold me, unto a nation that was not called by my name. I have spread out my hands all the day unto a rebellious people, which walketh in a way that is not good, after their own thoughts. All right, and following after Islam, I'm responding to the elder, not the Zagbaz video. Following the way of Islam, that is not the good way. Our forefathers, that's not, Allah was not who they worshipped. All right, your God that your forefathers served and worshipped, he had a name. His name was Yahweh, which means he is or he exists. Allah just simply means God, and there's many gods. There's gods plural. All right. So, what is the name of the God of Islam? Allah. Allah just means God. But there's many gods out there, and if you understood history, the Kaaba that they claim was built by the prophet that stored a rock that fell from God. It was actually a place of worship where the Arabs, they would worship 365 gods. All right. So they were polytheistic before they was introduced to Islam, and they kept the same place of worship. and just basically said, all right, this is Allah, that's your God. And it's no different than Catholicism, which if you understood the parallels, all right, Islam came a few centuries after the Catholic Church or Catholicism. All right, the Catholic Church, we know, going back to the Nicene Council, that they integrated, or they amalgamated the practices of these different pagan idol worshiping practices into Christianity. So you adopted fertility worship into Christianity. You adopted sun worship into Christianity. That was basically what they were doing yesterday on so-called Ishtar Day. And you had the Pope, he was looking like he was about to drop dead. Now realizing this fool ended up literally dropping dead just hours after he did that. But Islam, Catholicism, they're very similar. Okay? And they both are false religions that goes back to the worship of false deities. We worship the true high power, the true God of the heavens and the earth. So we're not to associate ourselves with those who believe in those practices and worship those other deities. So that even includes our own people. All right. A lot of these so-called black Muslims, they worship a whole nother God. They come in a whole nother spirit. All right. So let me grab this. And I posted this scripture in the elders page. 2 Corinthians 6, I'm going to start the 14th verse, and I'm going to read it in the New Living Translation. So it says, don't team up with those who are unbelievers. And you got rebellious, reprobate Israelites that do so. And they're doing it based on their own agenda, their own hidden ulterior motives. We don't know what the play is, but, it leaves for speculation of conspiracy. Even when you read Ezekiel, the 22nd chapter, it talks about there being a conspiracy of our prophets in the midst. Why would you link up with an organization that you know is being demonized by the enemy? This is how they're going to basically demonize you the same way. And they're going to basically link you together. Look at Vocab. He's been investigating the Muslims and debating Muslims. He's anti-Muslim in the same vein that he's anti-Hebrew Israelism. It's not a coincidence that he's attacking both in the same way. And this guy, he represents the Zionist, even though he masked himself behind Calvinism, the Reformed theology. All right. So this is Ezekiel 22 and 24. Not 24. Yeah, I'll start at 24. It says, Son of man, say unto her, thou art the land that is not cleansed, nor rained upon in the day of indignation. There is a conspiracy of our prophets in the midst thereof, like a roaring lion ravening the prey. They have devoured souls. They have taken the treasure and precious things. They have made her many widows in the midst thereof. So that's why the Most High got a controversy with Israel. It's a lot of leaders that are in position that are actually misleading the flock. That's why it says in Isaiah 9 and 16, the leaders of my people cause them to err, and they that are led of them are destroyed. Especially if you occupy the position of a prophet, a servant, a minister of the Lord, a bishop. But these are the things that you're doing. Linking up with idolaters, unbelievers. Because you want to be seen in a similar vein as them, doing so-called community work. He's still a brother. He's still an Israelite, even though he worships another God. Even Yahushua said, he that is my mother, my brother, my sister, are those that do the will of my Father, which is in heaven. All right. So you're going against the grain. The elder provided the scripture in 2 John where it says, he that abide not in the doctrine of Yahushai have not the Son or the Father. And they that teach against it, we're not supposed to bid them Godspeed, because you're being partaker of their sin. So we're not supposed to bid them Godspeed, meaning we're not supposed to salute them. Paul said, if any man preach another gospel that you didn't hear from us, let that man be accursed. And Islam is a whole nother gospel. So we have no dealings with them. But we see what the narrative is. We see what they're trying to do. We're not ignorant to Satan's devices. All right? They already then linked Islam for the last 20 to 30 years to extremism and terrorism. So what do you think they're going to do with us? They're going to be able to see, oh, they're joining forces, you know, and they both are enemies of Zionism. So they're going to paint us as you know, we're all one and the same. We're the enemy, which Esau, he sees the tribes all together as an enemy. Now, if you're a Christian, you ain't no enemy. Because you're not a threat. All right. So, you know, this ain't a good look, but you know, we know that some of you dudes are compromised and you're moving real weird in these last days. And it's all right. Because the Most High, the Lord is already making a separation. You should be able to discern between who serve the Most High and who do not serve him. These actions right here is proving who's serving the Lord in spirit and in truth and who isn't. All right, so let me go back to Second Corinthians. It's 2 Corinthians 6:14. It says, don't team up with those who are unbelievers. How can righteousness be a partner with wickedness? Right? How can light live with darkness? What harmony can there be between Yahushai, Hamashiach, and the devil? How can a believer be a partner with an unbeliever? And if you're not worshiping the Most High and His only begotten Son, and praying and calling upon those names, and following the established doctrine, then you're not a believer. You're anti-Messiah. All right? And we're not to fellowship with you. It says, and what union can there be between the Most High's temple and idols? For we are the temple of the living power. We have no association with idols, man. And Allah is just another idol. Like it says in Psalms 96:5, the gods of the nations are idols, but Yahweh made the heavens and the earth. All right? As the Most High God said, I will live in them and I will walk among them. I will be their God and they will be my people. Therefore come out from among unbelievers and separate yourselves from them, says the Lord. Don't touch their filthy things, and I will come, and I will welcome you. And like I said, Islam, you know, some of their practices seem to have a similarity to some of our practices, because it goes back to one of the patriarchs, Abraham, because, you know, Ishmael, who fathered the Arabs, you know, they came out of Abraham as well. But we know that the Lord, when he made his promise, it went to Isaac and not Ishmael. Okay, so Ishmael, he's not of the chosen. But when you know, go into the origins, dealing with Islam, you know, they were worshiping a whole nother God. All right. Matter of fact, they were worshiping gods, plural. All right. And then one of those gods was Hubal. All right. Now you can see, all right, a demonstration of it. You know, there's actual ancient carvings of him. And when you look at him, There's a crescent moon that's carved, all right? And that's why you see that crescent moon symbol in Islam, because that's what that goes back to. So you type in a Hubal and Allah. In pre-Islamic Arabia, Hubal was a significant deity, particularly for the Quraysh tribe, who worshipped him at the Kaaba. While the term Allah was also used to refer to a supreme deity, Hubal was seen as the central deity of the Kaaba, and his idol was the most prominent. The relationship between Hubal and Allah is a debated topic, with some scholars suggesting that they may have been different aspects of the same deity, or that Hubal was a proxy for Allah in the pre-Islamic religious context. Okay? And they go and travel out to Mecca to worship before that. Just like in Roman Catholicism, people go and travel over to Vatican City, and it's a whole nother set of idol worship. Okay, they did it yesterday. The Catholics, they have their way of worshiping with the rosary beads. All right, matter of fact, I typed in the different similarities that they have. It says, I'm gonna read these ones. Sacred text. It says each has a central holy book. This is on Grunt, similar to Chat GPT. You could use either one, but this one right here says sacred text. It says each has a central holy book believed to be divinely inspired. The Bible, Old and New Testament, is foundational for Catholics, while the Quran is the primary text for Muslims, supplemented by hadith, sayings of Muhammad. All right, and Prophet Muhammad, he's not a true prophet of Yahweh Shem Shai. When you go into Deuteronomy, the 18th chapter, when it talks about that prophet that's going to be like unto thy brethren, all right, he's going to come out of the lineage of the children of Israel. That represented the Messiah. He was going to come out of the line of the Israelites. He was going to be that prophet that we had to listen to, not Muhammad. They said Muhammad was illiterate, okay, and he was groomed up. It says moral and ethical guidelines. It says both emphasize ethical living, charity, and justice. Concepts like compassion, honesty, and helping the poor are integral, right? Catholicism has the 10 commandments and teachings of Jesus. Islam has the 5 pillars and Sharia principles. Prayer and worship. Regular prayer is central. Catholics practice structured prayers, the Mass, Rosary, while Muslims perform Salah, 5 daily prayers. So you see the similarities. Both involve rituals, communal worship, and sacred spaces. Churches for Catholics, mosques for Muslims. All right. So they're similar because they both go back to religious institution. All right, where their so-called code of ethics and moral values are taught by the precepts of men. Their fear of the Most High is taught by the precepts of men. All right. So that's why they have a lot of these existing similarities. All right. They just have different deities, but it's all idolatry. All right. They both are not the path to salvation. All right. So we don't come together with them. So therefore, there's no association whatsoever, even though this devil's going to try to paint that narrative to use against us. Remember, going back in the Lord's time, they tried to link Yahweh Shai to the rebellion that was coming from those zealots. You know, it was a time of revolutions that them zealots was you know, pushing forth throughout, you know, that world. All right. So Yahweh Shai, he had to be numbered among the transgressors, the rebels. So, hey, we're no different. Like the Lord said, the servant is not greater than his master. So if they gotta falsely accuse us and make the link, they're gonna do it. But they're gonna use these self-willed, compromised Israelite groups. Right now, IUIC is being painted like they're you know, the good camp, right? The whole world loves them. They're going global, but they're gonna be used in the same token, you know. So we gotta be circumspect, you know, because there's a lot of wickedness going on. But we definitely would never come together with Muslims or Islam altogether. Okay, we worship the one true God, which his name is Yahweh, and his only begotten Son's name is Yahweh Shai. That's how you're gonna be saved. We're not gonna be seen doing no community work with these guys or none of that. You know, trying to be seen of men. So, you know, that's pretty much my, you know, response to that. And hopefully y'all will edify them and give all honor, all praise, and glory to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Shalom.